order for you to be nice to yourself, you have to learn how to be kind. Welcome or welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, High Guidance, and that is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Now, with that being said, because there's no right or wrong way to heal yourself, always and only take what resonates as well as leave the rest. So if it doesn't apply, then it means it's not in a line, which means it is not for you, so don't force it. As well as grab your pens, grab your paper, and be prepared to take notes. In this video, we're going to go over and discuss why it's so important to be nice to yourself, how to start being nice to yourself, and how to get rid of any limited or negative self-doubts or self-beliefs about yourself, as well as some recommendations, some reminders, some disclaimers, and just certain things that you need to be aware of. So starting off with the introduction of today's video, in order for you and I, but specifically you, to stop being so mean to yourself and stop talking so badly about yourself, you have to realize that you do have negative thoughts. You have to realize that these negative thoughts are common, but it's not normal. Being hard to yourself when you're already going through trials and tribulations is not helping you. Beating yourself up when you are having to do things yourself, or you may not have the same access and resources that other people have, is not fair. It's also not fair for you to compare your journey or to look at other people when we don't know what these people had to go through, and the same thing with you. So once again, the first thing you need to be aware of is that it is common to have negative thoughts and self-belief, especially when you have constantly been traumatized, or you've been around low vibrational people, or you've been around people that were negative, or maybe you were not in environments where people poured into you and respected you and thought highly of themselves. So the second thing you need to be aware of is that once you decide that you're going to become nicer to yourself and kinder to yourself, you do have to be mindful of who you're listening to. You do have to be mindful of who you speak with. You do have to be mindful of the conversations that you have when conversing with people. Not everybody always has something positive to say. Everybody is not like me, you guys. Do not expect this from any and everybody. You, which is going to be the third thing, you have to be nice to yourself for you. Just because people have negative things to say, whether it's in the comment section, whether it's in real life, whether it's people you're familiar with, doesn't mean that you have to agree with what is being said or that it's true. People are going to be negative, unfortunately. Why? Because that is what they choose to. People choose to be negative. Some people are consciously aware of their negativity because, like I said, the trials and tribulations. And then there are people who are negative because they've been negative and around negativity their entire life, and that's all they know. So a lot of times people are willfully ignorant. You don't have to be negative. The same way you could be positive is the same way you're going to be negative. But because I know everybody is not going to choose to do that because they don't have to if they don't want to, right? But you are. You do have to keep that in mind. You have to understand that just because people say things to you doesn't always mean that it's for you, that it's in alignment with you, or that it's going to help you. So when you're having conversations with people, the moment you feel like they're projecting negativity, you need to let them know, I don't appreciate you talking to me like this. Just because that was your experience doesn't mean that's going to be the same. I don't appreciate you putting doubt or putting fear into my plans or whatever it is I want. You have to be mindful of who you're listening to. Just because somebody calls you ugly or calls you names does not mean it's true. And that's something that takes a while. Like, what has helped me along my healing journey in my entire life, out of my entire life, was to know that just because people are going to talk about me doesn't mean that I have to listen, doesn't mean that I have to respond, and doesn't mean that I actually have to care. In order to allow these negative thoughts to get to you, you have to care. And it's nothing wrong with caring about people perceiving you or people judging you, but you should care about people perceiving you and judging you when you feel the same way. The main reason why I've never allowed anybody, and I could take a lie detector test, to say anything negatively about me and it affect me is because, one, I didn't want it to be like the people who were negative, and two, I knew that they did not know me. You should not allow people who do not pour into you, who don't know you, who get to know you, to speak badly about you or for you to feel any type of way. Sticks and stones may break your bones. Words do not have to hurt you. I know a lot of times people feel like words hurt. Words only hurt with certain people when you don't have a certain level of boundaries for yourself. If you know negative Nancy is saying negative things about you online, on social media, or in real life, why would you feel the need to respond? respond. This is something you have to practice, though. This doesn't mean that people having gossip about me, because I know you're gonna be like, well, people talk about you. People are always, unfortunately, like I said, you guys are always gonna have something to say. Negative people love to be negative, whether it's their thoughts, emotions, or whatever. We don't have time to be worrying about how people feel about us when they are not positive themselves, because most importantly, why would you listen to them? So the third thing is knowing that being positive, speaking nice or to yourself, being kind to yourself is a choice. You can continue to beat yourself up, or you can continue to watch these videos. Make sure you're liking this video and subscribing, following for more. Oh my gosh, following for more and practicing. You don't have to be positive. If you're gonna watch these videos, make sure you're taking your notes. Make sure you guys are engaging. That's what these videos are for. If you just want to see me, follow me on all my other social media platforms where I go over my soft girl life living, okay? Thank you. But anyways, it's a choice. Learning to be nicer to yourself, learning to be kinder to yourself, it's all about what you want. And that's another video that we're going to be talking about before the end of this month. It's a choice. Learning to think highly of yourself is a choice. Like, I have to choose to make these videos. I personally want to be nice to myself because I've always been a loving person inside and out. So once again, I'm not allowing any negativity, especially now at my big grown age. Obviously, the more you experience life, the more you go through things, the more you realize what's true and what's not. But it's like, when you have nothing to prove, why would you not want to sit here and be nice to yourself? Like I said, if you've gone through trials and tribulations, you're having to heal yourself from generational trauma or whatever it is, what do you look like being mean to yourself or being hard to yourself? So the fourth disclaimer is knowing that if you are someone who is used to being around negative people and negative energy, it is going to take some time. Like, you are only beating yourself up because somebody has projected and deflected that onto you. You're only beating yourself up because, unfortunately, you grew up in a dysfunctional household. You grew up around toxic people. You grew up around narcissistic people. You grew up around a lot of people who've had certain mentalities and programmed certain information at a certain frequency. And unfortunately, if they don't take the time to learn to be positive, if they don't take the time to heal themselves, if they don't see a psychiatrist, a therapist, they don't go to God, the ancestors, or the universe, once again, take what resonates, leave the rest, they're going to continue to pass on. And that's what generational cycles are, is when people before you previously had unhealed trauma or things that they didn't resolve or things that they didn't fulfill, and they continue to pass it on. Like, it's a real thing. And in a lot of communities, regardless of your race or your gender or your ethnicity, there is negativity. And there's only negativity because, once again, you don't have people who are willing to speak up. Being positive is not corny. Being positive is not cringy. Self-love is not cliche. People be like, oh, it's so cliche. What is so cliche about you thinking highly of yourself? What is so cliche about you giving yourself a compliment? If you want compliments from other people, which a lot of people want more than they want compliments from themselves, that's an issue. You should wake up knowing that you're beautiful, you're smart, or you're whatever you are before somebody else can tell you. Somebody else telling you is just reassurance because it's something that you know. I know that I'm a good person. I know that I'm beautiful. I know that I'm wealthy. I know that I'm healthy. I know I'm all of these things. Anybody who wants to disagree, it doesn't faze you. Like, there's honestly no correlation. Like, somebody disagreeing with you about what you feel about yourself, to be honest, is a form of an illusion, and they are delusional. Like, you have to stop feeding into the delusions. Delusions are things that are not real. So if you know you're a good person and other people think otherwise, it doesn't matter. Especially for those of you who claim to be religious or into spirituality, and I'm going to go there. Mean what you say, practice what you preach. I'm always speaking highly into myself. I'm always pouring into myself because, once again, if you don't have a support system, if you don't have a community, who are you going to wait for you to tell you that you know you're all that in a bag of chips? Because it's nothing wrong with that. If people did think highly of themselves, you wouldn't have people in the comment section being weird, saying negative things. You wouldn't have people in real life try to say negative things or like fear and doubt. So lastly, before I give you guys recommendations on what you're going to do in order for you to continue to be nice to yourself and how to be nice to yourself, you should know that it's no reason for you to continue to be mean to yourself after you watch this video. Like, if you guys are here and you guys are liking these videos and you're engaging, which I've seen analytics, I know you guys are watching and liking and subscribing, You got to keep that in mind. Like, you have to, moving forward, surround yourself with people who make you feel good. Surround yourself with people who make you feel seen. Make sure you're doing things that make you feel good. So number one, the first recommendation in order for you to be nice to yourself is to identify when you have these negative thoughts. So if something happens to you and it's considered to be an inconvenience, how are you reacting and you're responding? What do you say? So when things don't work out your way, are you like, oh, I'm angry? Like, do you get mad easily? Do you get sad easily? Write this down in your notes. Write it down in the comment section. And I'm going to say it again. How do you react and respond to inconveniences? Because how you react and respond to inconveniences is going to let you know, like, how you're feeling, your mood, your emotions. And it's nothing wrong with having emotions. Like, it's nothing wrong with being sad. It's nothing wrong with being mad. It's nothing wrong with being angry because you're a human being. But it's when you dwell in anger. It's when you dwell in frustration. And I'm speaking from experience. Just because we go through certain things in our life doesn't mean that we have to become bitter or that we have to become miserable. Like, that's something I've never experienced or want for myself. Like, yes, things are going to happen. Life is going to life. Like, we're here to evolve. We're here and then we're not. So it's just like learning to practice and regulating your emotions is the first thing. Like, how do you respond to negativity? How do you respond to negativity? That's the first thing you need to work on. The second thing you need to work on, the second recommendation, once you identify how you react to negativity, is why do you feel that way? Why do you feel triggered when somebody says certain things to you? So if someone were to call you ugly, why would that bother you? You have to be specific. You have to communicate. You have to articulate to yourself. Over here, we sweep all of the skeletons that are in our closets out. We pull up the rug. You have to communicate. You should be communicating in your notes. You should be communicating in the comment section. A woo jump scare. Like, this is the type of time that we're on. This is why my content is not for everybody, because everyone's really not like that. All tea, all shade. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Why does it bother you when people talk about your eyebrows? Why does it bother you when people talk about your hair? You know why you feel bothered. This doesn't mean that your emotions should be invalid or that how you feel is not wrong. But it's like, once again, when you know why you're reacting and responding and you know how it's making you feel, the third recommendation is to figure out, well, what can you do about it? How can you move forward when certain things happen to you? So, for example, somebody does something to you and it makes you mad, makes you sad, which you have every right to feel. What should you do? What are we going to do? Most importantly, which is the fourth recommendation, why are you in these situations? Why are you allowing certain people to even have that much access to you to feel comfortable to say certain things? Do you speak up for yourself? And that goes back to the third thing. If somebody, for example, doesn't like my eyebrows, what does that have to do with me? If somebody doesn't like how you dress, what does that have to do with you? I want you to write that down as information. What does that have to do with me? If you need affirmation, that's going to be part of the recommendations. What does that have to do with you? The next time you feel triggered, the next time somebody says something negative, before you react and respond, and I need you to practice this, I need you to put it in the comment section. What does that have to do with you? Or, yeah, you or me. What does that have to do with me? Then I want you to decide if it's worth your time, your energy, and effort. Because a lot of times when learning to be nicer to yourself and kinder to yourself, you have to ask yourself, well, what does this have to do with me? If it's draining you, what does that have to do with you? If it's not pouring into you, what does that have to do with you? Learning to be nice to yourself is a choice, but most importantly, it's just all about if you want to be nice. If you want a burger, then you'll eat a, okay? Let me know if you know where that's from, or are you too young? Are you not even hip? Like, what's tea? What's tea? But anyways, we're being nice to ourselves. We're being kind to ourselves. And yes, I said nice and kind because here's the gag. Before I end the video, how you treat yourself is how you're going to treat other people. So when you see people that are not nice to themselves, when you see people that are not kind to themselves, avoid them. Stay away from them. If you're not going to be patient with them, if you're not going to teach them, if you're not going to meet them where they are, if you're not willing to accept them for who they are, remove yourself. The best thing you can do in order for you to be nice to yourself, as well as taking the recommendations and letting me know what's tea, is to not even go back and forth. Once you realize a lot of people are not nice to themselves, once you realize a lot of people are not kind to themselves, once again, somebody's projections and limitations, what does it have to do with me? What does that have to do with anything? So lastly, the fifth and final recommendation is to write down and create positive affirmation that you could say to yourself. So I give you guys one. What does that have to do with me? That's a question, and it could be a statement. What does that have to do with me? Somebody says that, oh, I don't like her videos. What does that have to do with me? Me personally, my answer would be, well, you don't have to watch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have time for that. I'm not forcing anybody to be here. I don't want anybody just to be here. I am very intentional about the people who watch. Can I control 8 billion alleged people on earth? No, I'm not. Am I a master manipulator? No, I'm not. So whoever watches is gonna watch, but it's just like, what does that have to do with me? Another affirmation that you need to reassure yourself with is saying something positive to replace it. So if you have any negative thoughts or any negative limitations and you want to know personally, like what I personally recommend on how you should react and respond, or what you should say to yourself to replace it, let me know in the comment section. As well as if you guys are ready for me to turn my website back on for you to have your one-on-one personal session, make sure you guys drop the word website, as well as follow me on all my social media platforms. All the information is down in the description box below, as well as follow me on my Instagram and on TikTok. I'm going to be going live today, specifically when I drop this video, to go over and discuss those things, as well as letting me know what you need to work on and why you need to be concerned with people and places and things who are not positive and who are not nice. Because once again, being nice and being kind to yourself is a choice. And if you guys want a part 2 with more recommendations, let me know. I love you. You are loved. Until next time, peace.